Press the bell icon on the YouTube app to never miss a video from Newslaundry.
Welcome to Newslaundry Chhota Hafta. For the full episode, subscribe because it is behind the paywall and only subscribers get access to uncut, complete content. Newslaundry Hafta is our weekly wrap of all that made the news, all that didn't, and all that should have and all that shouldn't have. We agree, we disagree, we critique, and occasionally we beat each other up. But it's all good fun. Subscribe.
This is a Newslaundry podcast and you're listening to NL Hafta.
अंग्रेज अपना लगान और न्यूज़लॉन्ड्री अपना हफ्ता कभी नहीं छोड़ते. I hope you all had a wonderful Dasera, Durga Pujo, and whatever it's called in other parts of the country. Well, that day had a parade by the RSS, which was live telecast on most news channels. We shall discuss that. But before that, I would, as usual, like to ask you to subscribe to newslaundry.com. Whatever platform you listen to this podcast on, come to our website, newslaundry.com. We have several podcasts, articles, opinion pieces and videos. And we don't take advertising because we believe when the public pays, the public is served. When advertisers pay, advertisers are served. So please do come to Newslaundry and subscribe and help to pay to keep news free. Because unless you do, news will die. One more appeal. You will be thrilled and maybe surprised to know, because I know I was surprised to learn, that 2 of our podcasts have been shortlisted for the Asia Podcast Awards. Now, the Asia Podcast Awards has 2 categories. One is the education category, where, believe it or not, Let's Talk About has been nominated. And the other category is Asia's Best Podcast, where, believe it or not, Awful and Awesome has been shortlisted. So while we are recovering from that shocking surprise, and our dear Hafta has been left out, but that's because they don't have a news category. I think they want to remain, non-controversial. So do log on to asiapodcastawards.com. I repeat, log on to asiapodcastawards.com and click on the best podcast category and, vote for Awful and Awesome. And in the other category, which is the education category, vote for Let's Talk About. So with that appeal, I will hand over to Manisha, who's going to... Oh, let me introduce the panel first. And then because I've just had my pupils dilated, I had an eye test checkup, so I still can't read anything. So she'll be reading out the mails and stuff. But today on the panel, we have Manisha Pande.
Hello.
Madhu, Trehan, who's back after 2-week hiatus.
Hi.
We have our latest addition to the team Newslaundry. We have Mehraj, who has been earlier with Scroll, India Today. And because I can't read, he will introduce where else he has been.
Indian Express and Catch News.
I see. And you've been as a journalist for how long?
About 10-11 years.
So welcome, Mehraj, to Newslaundry and your first Hafta.
Glad to be here.
I hope you enjoy it. Try to get a word in because otherwise I don't stop talking.
I will try.
Okay, you will try. And Anand Vardhan, our regular opinion writer. Hi, Anand. Welcome back. So Manisha, why don't you start off with what all dominated the news and then we shall get into the Hafta.
Yes, Mohan Bhagwat's speech on the Shera made a lot of news. It was telecast live across private television channels and DD. He basically said that lynching is a Western construct which is used to defame India. So that bit of his statement really made a lot of news. He said that basically there's no Indian context to lynching and it's something that's part of other religious texts. After that, Rafale, India got its first fighter jet from France and Rajnath Singh received it. He conducted a Shastra Puja, put a little Om on the aircraft and there were images of little Nimbus on the tire and that also generated some controversy. It was definitely primetime news for some reason.
I think also that the video of Modi went viral because Modi was making fun many years ago of some chief minister. I don't know who he was. Maybe he was taking a dig at Mamta or maybe he was taking a dig at...
He was taking a dig at Siddaramaiah, if I'm not mistaken. Because during the Karnataka elections, in one of the rallies, there was a person, I think something was being chidkoing on him and that became a bit of a...
So he was taking a dig at another chief minister and he said, wo nimbu lagate hain, mirchi lagate hain. मैंने कहा ऐसे लोगों को दिया देश तब तो देश का whatever बेड़ा गर्क हो जाएगा type. And of course people juxtapose that with Rajnath Singh doing the Nimbu Mirchi on Rafale.
Rajnath Singh shot back at all his detractors and said this is our faith and there's nothing to be ashamed in doing the Shastra Puja.
And life gives you Nimbus.
Yeah.
Do Shastra Puja.
No, but the problem with that is he's the defense minister of India, the defense minister of the Socialist Secular Republic of India. So you can do it to your own private jet, but I don't think it's appropriate to do it to this thing.
Kejriwal was supposed to be visiting Denmark for a climate summit. He's been refused by the Ministry of External Affairs. They said that basically he will not be given political clearance. And according to one quote by the External Affairs Minister, it's said that he's basically not a mayor. So he doesn't have it's a conference of mayors of 100 cities of Asia. So since he's not a mayor, he can't attend it.
And he's addressing them via satellite video call.
Yeah.
And briefing them on the turnaround of Delhi's air pollution and stuff. Yeah.
Election time is back again. Haryana and Maharashtra are set to go to polls, and I think it's perhaps the most boring, insipid elections ever. Like, I think there's like nothing election like, because there's no opposition, I guess. But anyway, speeches are making some news. Amit Shah said that every illegal immigrant Chun Ke will be thrown out of the country, and the next time they come to seek votes in 2024, they would have gotten rid of every single intruder from the country.
So has any journalist so far asked him, where will you send them? Like when he said, hum inko nikal denge, kahan bhejenge?
When
Kaun
they
lega?
meet the Bangladesh Prime Minister, they are very like, nahi, aapko darne ki zarurat nahi hai. So I don't know where Bay of Bengal, I think they plan to just send everyone to.
They're building camps, so.
Well, yeah.
Shiv Sena, which has zero presence in Haryana, has given a poll ticket to someone who is accused of attacking JNU's Umar Khalid and was shot at Umar Khalid last year.
What's his name?
Naveen Dalal.
Naveen Dalal, yeah. So in fact, he had said that it is my gift to the nation. Outside Constitution Club, those of you may remember, there was this two men ran away when there was apparently an attempt on Umar Khalid. The gun fell out of their hand or something. So not only is he dangerous, he's also clumsy.
Yeah.
So he's right up Shiv Sena's alley.
And BJP also gave a ticket to a TikTok video star, Sonali Fogart.
And she made a kind of speech, then she went back on it because she in her speech said
she
that...
basically threatened her own... So somebody commented like earlier, politicians would come and be humble, at least during votes, and say, please vote. She literally dhamkaed them and said, you go to Pakistan if you don't vote for me.
And then later said, sorry, you don't have to go to Pakistan, you don't vote for me.
An FIR was filed against 49 writers and filmmakers who had appealed to Prime Minister Modi to stop the mob lynchings. This FIR was squashed timely, and now there's going to be a counter FIR against the person who filed the FIR.
But now he's done something else, right, Mehraj?
Yeah, he's gone to the court saying that this was done under political pressure, so you should charge them all over again.
So the man who had filed a complaint against the 49 people was charged by the police. Now he's done a counter complaint in the magistrate saying that he's being... And some politician has said that we haven't done it.
Javadekar basically said that the Tukde gang is to be blamed for all these rumors being spread about the centre, and we had nothing to do with
Fascinating, the kind of stuff that makes news in our country.
Bihar, so there's a closure report in the case, and RA also made news earlier in the week where the Supreme Court finally stepped in and said that no need to cut trees, and the civic authorities, basically the municipal corporation said, but we've already cut whatever we wanted to. So they cut on Friday, Saturday, basically they went on I think they cut some
1,000
odd trees. They detained about 29 people who were later released, activists who were protesting against them. And now the case is going to be heard sometime in around October 21st.
Right.
I don't know for what reason, because they've practically done what they wanted to do. Aditya Thackeray, while he was vociferously tweeting against it, didn't show up for any of the protests.
But the committee that approved these trees being cut had people from the NCP, that had people from the Shiv Sena, had people from the BJP. It was across party lines.
Yeah.
But I think Uddhav Thackeray's rhetoric on this...
And I mean, Shiv Sena runs BMC, so...
Yeah, but he said if you vote us into power, the people who cut Array, they will be punished. So he was pretty directly taking on the BJP. But I think
they are in power right now, like with BJP.
I think he meant Chief Minister, because they're also making sounds like I had promised Bala Saab ki hum Shiv Sena ka Mukhyamantri banayenge. So anyway, I don't think that's a possibility, but...
JNK is in news, as it has been for the past 60 days. National Conference leaders meet Farooq and Umar Abdullah 2 months into their detention. There was also news of POK protesters being stopped from marching towards the line of control to protest against the scrapping of special status. But I think you were saying that this is a bit of a exaggerated report.
Yeah, because it's like some people organized by the Liberation Front, the POK chapter, so they are trying to march, and they have anyway told them we'll only allow you until Chakoti, which is like 3 kilometers from the LOC.
So the cameras wouldn't have got them anyway.
No.
So then they said,
and it's a handful of people from what I heard from back there. So
I see. You're from Kashmir?
I am from Kashmir.
Where?
So I have some, it's a place called Rafiabad. It's in Baramulla district. So about 15-16 kilometers from Baramulla. But I have some relatives on the other side, so I was speaking to them and they said it's nothing.
How's connectivity on the other side?
Connectivity is fine if you call on like WhatsApp and stuff, but this becomes very problematic if you call on the phone.
Regular phones.
Yeah.
I see.
J&K governor has also rolled back the tourist advisory warning against travel to Kashmir, so tourists can now go to Kashmir.
So now everyone's booking up, I'm sure.
But they'll have to leave their phones at home, I suppose.
It can be a little bit like a Vipassana in Kashmir because you'll be completely out of touch. So you can just go there, meditate.
Might not find anything to eat also because there are no hotels working.
Yeah. Shaila Rashid announced her decision to quit electoral politics. That was easy come, easy go.
I think it's also how she's worded electoral. That means she won't contest election, but she's staying here on the party. She hasn't quit the party. So.
No, not the party. Just
I really don't know what that means. I just think it means that you don't have... it's too early to fight elections, I guess.
Yeah, and I think with the political leadership opposition being detained, her point was that it's not going to be fair, the coming elections. So, Chinese Premier Xi Jinping is here to meet Prime Minister Modi on the 11th and 12th. He's in Chennai. It's this dominating news all of today. There were really disturbing images of school children wearing Xi masks. With their little plates. China, of course, Kashmir is going to make a little bit of news, and China said that standard line that India and Pakistan should resolve dispute. White House, in world news, White House has said that it will not cooperate with impeachment inquiry against President Donald Trump. And Syria, the Turkish Donald Trump turning his back on the Kurds and saying we're turning our back because they didn't help us in Normandy made a bit of news.
Is that what he said?
He said they didn't help us in Second World War during Normandy. The Kurds weren't there.
Is that what he said?
He said it.
Okay, he just keeps changing what he's saying. But basically, context,
I thought that was
the Kurds
insane.
were helping the US fight ISIS.
Yeah, for almost 3 years, they lost about 1,100 of their fighters. They really I think took on ISIS.
And now that the US is withdrawing its troops, Turkey is moving in and bombing them. And why Turkey is bombing them is because Kurds, there are about, 30 million of them spread across Syria, Turkey, Iraq and Iran. And they want their own nation. And Turkey believes that these Kurds are in contact with the Kurds in Turkey, who they consider terrorists. So the buffer between the Turkey army, annihilating these Kurds was the US army, and now that the US army is gone, but this is hardly the thing that this week Trump completely went off the rockers, like that thing in my unmatched and immense wisdom.
He signed off
The tweet was beyond the pale. I have not seen a worse tweet than that. In my unmatched wisdom.
How do you say that unself-consciously?
He's amazing.
And he signed it off saying, well, I'm president.
Yeah, that's another one. There was another tweet he signed it off saying, well, I'm president. He was basically trashing Fox News. But I think
that is also something.
He's
Fox and
reached
Friends
a
is no
level
longer...
which is just
So if
unbelievable.
even Fox News has come out with this poll that 51% of Americans do want him impeached. He's got a problem.
Of course, and he's sounding more and more hysterical. Let's start off with the Sarah Day.
Yes.
Madhu,
Mohan Bhagwat's
did you watch the Sarah television? You were not in town, so I guess you didn't.
No, I wasn't in the country.
Yes, you were in Maldives.
I was in a no news, no shoes place.
So you were not allowed shoes or connectivity there. So it was like Vipassana.
It was wonderful.
Anyway, so the Sarah, there was the live telecast of these big Maidan of men who were not exactly commando shape doing PT with Danda. And it was getting live coverage. And in one window, there was this PT happening. And in the other window...
Their marching is the funniest. Yeah. It's such incoordinated marching they do.
I don't fucking believe it. Yeah. Like, don't show that. They should actually tell, because these channels, listen to them. They say, Bhagwat जी पर कैमरा लगता है, उनकी स्पीच परेड मत दिखाना. क्योंकि अगर कोई आरएसएस से डरता हो और परेड देख ले यार, ये तो क्या करेंगे यार, इनका तो छोड़ो. It's like monkeys with clubs, yeah.
No, but I think what disturbs me is when I see those Korean and Chinese soldiers marching.
Like a machine, man.
Yeah, and then I think that our guys...
No, on Republic, they are this thing is very
we're
well
perfect.
I think the forces, of course, are
No,
great.
our forces are perfect in that. But even then, when I see those, it is just very intimidating.
Yeah, the coordination there is amazing. But I just thought Mohan Bhagwat's speech, I think slowly, like Trump has moved what is normal and what is acceptable. Like we make fun of Trump, but he's moved it way this way. I mean,
The discourse, yeah.
the discourse is like now, as long as you don't say, let's grab this one by the pussy, that's good. That's good enough. I mean, it's a very low bar. I think with the kind of speeches that one shows in prime time and they are kind of endorsed in some sense, whether there's his lynching comment, the normal has moved way into the like.
So what is the Hindi word for lynching?
There isn't
Peet
apparently.
ke maar dena.
I mean, there's
That's just describing somebody being beaten.
I'm sure. I don't
Is
know
there
if
one
there's
word
one
for
word
lynching?
for it.
They must have invented one. After it came into discourse, they must have invented some word, but I'm not aware of that.
But I just
Hindi newspaper
So what
में
did you
वैसे
think
lynch
of
लिखते
Bhagwat's
हैं,
speech?
learn.
Bhagwat's speech, I just read bits of it in the newspapers. I didn't watch it. So he said a lot of things.
it's a long speech.
A lot of things, but which particular thing which we need to talk about?
About his lynching.
Or
whatever
anything
you
else,
thought
whatever
that
you
was
thought was
remarkable.
remarkable of what you read.
No, see, lynching, I have written also, and I have said that what he said, maybe because of the lack of gift of articulation that he may have, he was saying, see, lynching is a subset of a larger problem of mob justice in India. So his context was, it is not something that has emerged it is something over the last 2 or 4 years. So we are essentially a retributive society. So because of the low compliance of rules and low confidence in law enforcing agencies, lynching happens because of child lifting rumors. Lynching happens because of a lot of other regions, and in a lot of things that, like say Bihar is witnessing 4 or 5 lynching deaths daily in the last 2-3 months. All of them are because of some rumor or some, say, petty confrontations. So I think I agree to a point that it's the communal context given to lynching is a bit exaggerated.
What do you think, Mehraj, of his speech?
Don't think that is actually accurate, because lynching this.
No, I'm not saying about his speech. What I'm saying is that
Generally,
these things comes recycling in a recycling order in the news cycle. Lynching means I think we have discussed it 5 or 6 times.
No, but in the case of Bhagwat's speech, I mean, I just thought it was a little uninformed and ignorant.
Yeah, what he said basically is it is in the other religious books.
Yeah,
basically, which he was saying is like it's not in the Hindu sort of canon or Hindu society. That's not accurate. Like Dalits have been suffering this for like last 2,000 years.
So, well, what happened to
being
Abhimanyu
killed-
was a lynching.
Yeah, I mean,
Abhimanyu, why?
Because he was surrounded by men who laughed and bashed him to death. Arjun's son Abhimanyu.
Okay, but that's okay. That's
no, even otherwise,
War
I mean, like
context.
the Manu Smriti is basically a guide to lynching. So that, but another thing, more than the lynching part, one thing just went under the radar in his speech. So which was about the economy. So he said, we are having a lot of discussion about growth and everything, but we have 5% GDP rate right now, and one can show concern about it, but there's no need to discuss it.
Yeah, I thought that
Because
was
if we
quite weird.
discuss it, it'll like all the business people and traders, they might start believing it, and then it'll get worse and all that. Which is like a crazy thing to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if somebody is in business or trade, he'll know what is happening with the economy. You don't need to tell them
but
that.
don't talk about it loudly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a letter from Sai Ganesh. He doesn't want us to read the entire letter, but basically he says that he's from Tamil Nadu and he thinks the best way for the country is to have a DMK, ADMK sort of system, one party alternating between two parties, and you don't want a complete capture by one party like right now we have the BJP without any opposition. And so he's talking about the fact that though he doesn't support Modi, he's also wondering if journalists are always just too critical of the current government, and if there's a certain glee even when there's something wrong that's happening and you can see real damage because of a government policy that's gone wrong, there is a certain glee in journalists because they like the fact that the government is failing. So he says, basically he's asking if the media should report positive stories also, and have we made up our mind that this is a fascist? I don't know how lightly this word gets used. I don't like how lightly this word gets used. Basically, if we
should we do also
should we
positive
also talk
news?
about positive stuff?
What is your view, Madhu? Are we too, as in not as in us, but generally the media too critical of Modi?
The media too critical of Modi,
and nothing positive gets reported.
I always believe that journalism has to do a critic. Yeah, that's our USP. Not USP as much as obviously it's the old thing that we don't report planes landing safely. We report a plane crash, obviously. But I think with the kind of so-called journalism that is now surrounding us, which to me is no longer journalism, but complete propaganda on all sides, from right wing and left and everything, I am actually reassessing that statement that we should only report plane crashes or negative news. I think now the time has come. We have to reassess journalism again and take a look at how there are other kinds of stories to be reported other than just politics, other than just all the negative stuff that's happening. I think the time is ripe for a new kind of journalism where which could be categorized in many ways, maybe social journalism, social in terms of
social impact,
and there's no shortage of stories of people doing amazing work in small towns and villages and everything. And I think the time has come actually not just doing we've got to do a positive spin, but I think that real journalism, we have to go back to real journalism, such as the time in the 70s, for example, before the emergency, in the 60s and 70s, where people went out to villages and actually did reports. And actually,
many of those happen, but the overwhelming, the
legwork is gone. The legwork is gone in doing stories like the Bhagalpur blindings, and all that required legwork. You go out there, I'm not saying only positive stories, but the real stories of trafficking, of all these kind of things. Okay, these are cliches by now doing that. But I think there has come a time that we really have to reassess how we do, what kind of journalism should we be doing.
Anand, what is your view on this letter? Or his question rather?
No, I think media or any platform where information is a casualty, that should be avoided. So I think journalism and media, if they take this default position that they are going to be anti-establishment or draw some kind of romantic vision of their profession out of that, or draw some kind of power by being pro-establishment. Now, I think information is establishment neutral. So whatever brings you more information should be preferred. Whether suppose you are going against the government and you don't tell your readers and viewers that there is a policy which may benefit them, and you don't discuss it. There are some constituents of a policy which may be beneficial for the people, and just because you are anti-establishment, so then information is a casualty there.
Right.
So so goes for the establishment media also, where you are not critical enough of the deficiencies in a policy. So I think information should be the priority. Pro-anti is not it. Second, I don't think that there is lack of legwork. I think there are too many people in media now who are ready to do any kind of legwork to survive. So,
on television, do you see any stories being done?
Prime time, not
TV. I
yeah,
guess.
TV. I think the model is different.
I don't think that is because of lack of willingness of people to do work, but because of the editorial leadership or the agenda they have.
Or the model,
Yeah,
Yes.
whatever
Basically,
the reason is not being done.
Yeah, 80% of the revenue comes on the 2.5 hours shouting
Yeah,
match
so
in
the
the
point is
at
that it's
night.
not being done. Journalism is not being done. Stories are not being done. It's just that when there's a crisis, when 3 people have been killed or there's something but the stories of in-depth stories of going and investigating a story fully, I'm sorry, I disagree with you. It's not being done.
Then,
So second thing, just a bit about that puja, Shastra Puja thing. So you see in public sector undertakings also, there is Vishkarma Puja, which is essentially a puja of machinery, or anything that helps you in doing technical stuff. People worship vehicles also on this, and in public sector undertakings like bail or sale. These pujas are performed. It's an extension of that only. And see, this is also an artificial division, taking the European model of secularism and applying that protocol to a nation of believers. So these fault lines emerge from that. This kind of silly season debate. If you see, I think. A lot of values in the constitutional, what is called constitutional patriotism is a bit, artificial in Indian context, since it has been imposed from the above. But just a bit of information for listeners, that if you get an original copy of the Constitution of India, it has a lot of paintings of Hindu gods and goddesses. If you see original copy of Constitution, in the margins, it has a lot of paintings, and it was perhaps done by Nandlal Bose. So it is not to say that this is the religion here, this is the only religion here, but this is what we have inherited from thousands of years, and that's why the constitution makers put it there. They commissioned its paintings there. So and there is a lot of other steps. So I think it is all these things also are extension of that only. Yeah.
Mehraj?
So
Good news, bad news, any news?
Yeah, so what Madhu said about it all being political reporting right now, which is true, and it's not even political reporting in that sense. It's just like basically this minister said this today, this one said this today, this one said this, and then in the opinion columns you have punditry. It's not even like that.
Basically tweet ko leke news banata.
Yeah, and there's no
legwork.
insight as such. And this other thing that government programs are not like being publicized and all. Media is not the government's publicist. They have a department for that. And information, yes, information, that is the primary goal, but also the truth. So information can also be used to misinform, like we have seen for the last 5-6 years. That's what has been happening. Fudge data and like misleading data and stuff. That is part of it. And like she said, that is the bread and butter of journalism. You go into the field, you get the stories, good stories of ordinary people.
Right.
That is what it's all about.
But yeah, Madhu, I was dying to discuss Trump. Now, many people say, why should we discuss Trump? Because that man fascinates me. For those of you who don't know, the Democrats are doing proceedings for the impeachment, and they have subpoenaed some documents, and they want some people from the White House and the External Affairs,
State
Department to testify. He has said, no, we will not give you any documents, we will not testify. I don't have to. This is a kangaroo court. So they're saying, no, you have to. That's the rule, So I was listening to the commentators. Basically what what Trump is doing is, he's pushing everything to the limit, like Boris did, that, okay, challenge it in the Supreme Court. Let the Supreme Court rule on it. Like, you break every rule. But so I think, Bill Maher had predicted this a long time ago on his show, that even if this man loses, he'll refuse to vacate the White House. You'll actually physically, marshals have to go and get him out, because He's just refusing to do stuff. He's saying, I will not comply, I will not do this.
The US court has ruled that he has to give his tax returns now.
But he still hasn't.
No. So that is one issue. Secondly, his phone calls are like, to Erdogan. Okay, we're removing the US forces. Go kill the Kurds.
Or that I'll finish your economy. He talks like a mob boss, man. He's mad.
Yeah. So you can't, fact is that he's been living that life for so long that it's impossible for him to change his style of thinking. He's just not presidential in any form. His conversation with the Ukraine president and that press conference they held afterwards where somebody asked the question and the answer is so amazingly funny from the Ukraine president on whether he was threatened or not. It's so clear that this man is completely out of control and thinks that he can bully and push people around any way he likes.
Imagine the film made
but
on
now
him.
I think it's reached the edge because even Fox News' survey says that 51% of the American population want him impeached.
Yeah.
So I think but the problem is that, not the problem, but it is a fact that impeachment is a very slow process in America.
Yeah, but election would have come by the time. In fact, he'll probably may gain from it because he'll stretch it out and then election is upon him. Then impeach karo na karo, matlab ab to election
That's what I read some of the people saying that's exactly what is going to happen. If it doesn't start fast, so he'll drag it on until the elections.
I think it's in terms of looking at it in capitalistic terms, in capitalism in America, he's had the best promotion for his business in many ways. His daughter and son-in-law have made $72 million while in the White House. His brand has become... I don't know if it's okay, actually, if it's better, because that's debatable. Because there's a hotel in downtown Soho in America, which was called Trump Towers, where the Japanese owned it, but they bought the brand to call it Soho Trump. And
they aren't using it now.
And he became the president, and the occupancy rate went so low that they've now changed the name to Dominic.
In fact, that's happening to one of the golf courses in the Middle East also. It was a Trump.
Yeah.
This thing, they've removed Trump because it was a little bit...
So I don't know. His tweets...
How does someone say, in my unmatched wisdom? How do you see that? Yeah, I can't believe... But who had made the film on Bush, Dabya? It was made by Oliver Stone, right?
Oliver Stone.
Oliver Stone made Dabya.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking the film on this guy will be the real film. Yeah, he's such a... Or even the film on Cheney, VP it's called, right? What's it called? Veep. It's called Veep or VP, whatever.
Veep.
I think that gives you... It's such an interesting insight because he's such an interesting man. I mean, on one level, he's so evil. And another level, he is such a good family man. And how his daughters and wife are such a priority for him. And I think that scene is a really powerful scene when he tells when George Bush calls him and says, why don't you become my vice president? And he says, okay, but don't expect me to comment on same-sex marriage.
Because his
my
daughter's
daughter
lesbian. It's beautiful. Yeah.
And the fact he says, that's where I draw the line. Not my family. So I just think, But
shows different aspects of them. But I think with a film on Trump,
will be too
if they
good.
make it actually factual, the next generation who may not have read all the news or whatever will think that it's just a Woody Allen comedy, that no president could be so crazy. And they'd say it's too far-fetched. They should have made it more realistic, not realizing that everything that is done is true.
सुन लिया अफ्रीका मुफत खोरों. Not to brag or anything, but Newslaundry Hafta features in the top 50 in the world on SoundCloud in the news and politics category for podcasts. So do subscribe and see what you're missing, because when the public pays, the public is served. When advertisers pay, advertisers are served. Subscribe, help keep news independent and free. All Newslaundry podcasts are available on iTunes and Stitcher and any other podcast platform.